Hello, this is Gringo in the Kitchen with Zenobia Beckley, and this week we're going to be working on healthy meal preparation for the week. And some of the ingredients we're going to use are, let's start with the squash, a butternut squash. We'll be using, rather than potatoes, we'll be using a butternut squash. Has a lot of vitamins, a lot of iron, a lot of fiber. Okay? Also, for the meats, we'll be using bison, sort of like buffalo. Buffalo and bison is sort of in the same family, but it's 90% lean. It's maybe one of the leanest meats you can find. It's all grass-fed, all naturally fed, no corn. Very healthy. Also, I've got chicken breasts. You can see that they're already spiced. I'll go through a little bit of the spices here and show you exactly what we put on the chicken. And we let it marinate for a while for those spices to be soaked in, because so many times when you spice chicken, when you're cooking it at the same time, it washes off into the frying pan. All right, so let's start with the spices. We've got Natural Seasons, or Nature Seasons. It's a non-GMO product, and it's got the garlic, the pepper, and onion. A lot of different things in there. You can get all in just one shake of the shaker. Okay. Also got turmeric here. Turmeric, that adds a little bit of color. It's good for you. Got paprika. Paprika, once again, we'll add a little bit of color, a little bit of spice, a little bit of kick to it, to your meat. And then we finalize with balsamic vinegar. All right, balsamic vinegar we add to all of our meats. And then while cooking, we use avocado oil, and avocado oil is a great product because it will not separate into saturated fat like many of the oils will. This will take a temperature up to 500 degrees. Okay? And then when cooking the meat, we also like to use the coconut oil. Once again, it can stand the high temperatures of cooking. Going to be using cauliflower, and cauliflower is a great product. I'm going to actually be taking it, making it into a cauliflower rice. I'll be showing you that, how to do that. And then we use the carrots. These are the frozen carrots. We put them in a steamer, and they turn out very, very good. Okay. We also use a little bit of garlic on the side and some purple onion. Purple onion are very, very strong. You'll notice that when you're cutting them, they'll make your eyes water. So they're very strong, very good for you. And in the end, we garnish a little bit with cilantro. Okay, I've already cubed the butternut squash, and I've taken the carrots, put them into the steamer. As you can see here, this steamer is very simple. You just put water into the bottom of it. You can't quite see it down there, but you put about 2 cups of water in. I set it to about 45 minutes, and then also I put my hardest, the hardest product I put in the bottom here, which would be the squash. Takes a little bit longer to get done, and then on top I'll put my carrots, and just let it at this time, probably another 40 minutes, and it'll steam up. Those will be really, really good to eat. Okay, now it's time to prepare the meat. Got our pan on here. I'm going to show you something here. These are the blue diamond pans, and they don't stick. They're a little bit expensive, but they'll last for a lifetime. So we use those when we're cooking. I've got some of the melted down, this is a coconut oil. Just put a little bit of coconut oil, and that really adds a taste, a good taste to your meat. All right. Then I just take, you can see how we're spiced up here on each side. That is sat for probably about 5-6 hours already. We're going to fill this pan up right here with the fillets. And what I do is I take the chicken breast and I fillet them out. They're quite thick when I get them. And then I fillet them out so they will cook a little bit quicker. If they're too thick, they take forever and they don't cook evenly. Okay. They will shrink down a little bit so you can bring them together. Just get some good sized fillets. That might be a little bit too big, but it's going to shrink down anyway. And then so let's let this cook. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is get our bison cooking. Once again, just a drop of, we got a little drop of coconut oil. And then I'm going to go ahead and take, I've got the bison ready to go, and I'm just going to put it into the pan here. And I've got you can see I got onions, I've got all my spices in here. Once again, that has sat probably for about 4 hours, just trying to get it to marinate into the meat. Okay, So all the spices, everything I want to put into the bison is already here. Some people like to throw the onions in ahead of time and brown them, but that's not necessary. And just break it down a little bit. I'm going to break it down here in just a minute. I'll put in about a quarter cup of water. And probably use a fork here a little bit better. You can hear it's starting to cook already. All right, and just getting some of that oil to touch surface here with the meat. Okay. Let's add a little bit of water to it. And you can add a little water later if it needs it, but don't start out with too much water because then it takes forever to get rid of the water and boil it out. But you want to get this meat should take about 20-25 minutes. We're going to cover that so it helps steam it. And we'll be back. Okay, I'm back with the cauliflower. And I imagine you're asking yourself, well, how is Gringo going to go ahead and make rice out of cauliflower? It's very simple. I'll show you. I've got a grater here. You see what's coming down there? That becomes your rice. And cauliflower is very, very good for you. And it replaces, for the most part, it's going to replace your starches, like your potatoes. And you all know that when you have starch, it becomes sugar. And sugar feeds cancers and things that are in your body. So although we all love potatoes, once in a while it's fine, but you know, don't eat it every day. Get yourself a head of cauliflower, and you can make this rice, and it's very, very, very nutritious. All right, we're back with the cauliflower, just finishing up here. Some of the stalks you can actually use and run through too. If there's any big pieces, you just take them up and you run them back over the top of the grate, and it's not real sharp, you won't cut your fingers. And just so you can get into the consistency of rice. Okay. Then what we're going to do is add a little bit of spice to the cauliflower and take it into a pan, and then we're going to saute it for just a few minutes. Just a few minutes away from the chicken being done. You can see how there's not a lot of grease on this chicken. It's very lean. Anything you got in there is the coconut oil. So, and that goes right into the taste of the meat. And then going over here, I've got my bison, and the bison is almost cooked down also. So we're a few minutes. You can see here the steamer, how it's working. Steam's coming out of the top. It filters itself all the way up through the food. And we've got about 15 minutes to go. But the squash and the carrots should be done here in just a few minutes, and we'll start putting our meal. It's time to go ahead and saute the cauliflower rice. So first of all, in the pan here, we're going to warm it up and put a little spot of avocado oil, not too much. Then I like I use butter, but I use salt-free butter. So I don't have to add any salt. There's plenty of salt in the seasoning. I think I'm just going to put 3 in right now. All right. Stir it around just a bit. And once the cauliflower gets around, I'm going to add a little bit more seasoning. And if you don't eat cauliflower, I tell you, try this, because it's just it gives a whole different life to the cauliflower when you turn it into a rice. And you just throw a little seasoning in that, and it's wonderful. Okay. All right, now we spread it out just a little bit. It's one of the greens that came from the cauliflower. And we're going to cover it here in a bit. We're going to season it. But first of all, I'm going to take a little bit more of this seasoning, not much. Just sprinkle it. All right? You get more of the pepper, but there's maybe a little salt. But we're going to go ahead and because I've already got this piece cut, I'm just going to put it right here on top. Okay? Just give it a few minutes. Going to let it saute. The squash is done now. Just took it out of the steamer, and you can see you can cut right through it. It's good and soft. So I've got a sort of like a potato smasher is what you would call it. And we're just going to make it into like, I guess you'd call it a puree. It's going to make it really creamy. But in the process, I'm going to take some coconut milk. 1, 2, and that's what you're going to use for your liquid. All right, that's coconut milk. You can get that anywhere in any store. And it keeps for a long time. Just put it in a jar. Once you open it, it's in a can, but once you open it, put it in the refrigerator. It'll last for a while. All right, I'm just going to mix this up. And I'm going to add a new word to your vocabulary today. It's marmita. Marmita is a Brazilian word, or Portuguese word, that means lunch boxes, and that's what they call this. That's where we got this from. Now it's time to put the lunchbox marmitas together. We've got little containers, 1-liter containers. You can buy these at Walmart, about 8 or 10 at a time. So first thing I'm going to do, on the end, just take some of the cauliflower rice and put it in there. Okay. Then I'm going to add some chicken. The chicken or your meat always goes in the center. So we got to move it forward here. Okay. All right. Got some squash. Put a little squash on the end here, and there you go. Okay, we're going to do one more. Once again, you start with your rice. Put it on the side here. This time, I'm going to use some bison or buffalo. You see how it's all cooked down? It's really, really looking good. Okay. And going to add some carrots to the putting together another marmita, another lunchbox with cauliflower rice, and some chicken. Now, these are good for 30 days in the freezer. And then the night before you want to eat them, you take them out and put them in the refrigerator so the next day they'll be thawed out. You can put them right in the microwave if you like. Some people will eat them cold, but I like putting stuff in the microwave. So right now we're going to add a little bit of the squash to our tray here, and you'll see that's all set to go. Okay, just to finalize the marmitas, I'm going to take a little bit of cilantro here, break some pieces off, and we put it down on your meats. Okay, just spread it out a little bit. Okay, then we take some tomatoes. We got different colored tomatoes here, but just baby tomatoes. You can put them around here too. You can garnish any way you want. Once again on the other one here, just a little bit of cilantro. Okay, there you go. Just finalizing them here. And you might ask, well, if a person's vegetarian, what do you do? Well, that's good news, because in the very near future I'm going to be making a video for vegetarians. And so please make sure that you double click on the bell so you can get information as to when things are going to be coming out for my videos. Our healthy meal preparation for the week here is complete. We got our 2 choices of meat, squash, and our cauliflower. So next week we're going to be working on some marmitas or lunch boxes that are vegetarian. A lot of folks have vegetarian people living with them at home, and it's very important that we're able to prepare food for them also. So on behalf of myself, the Gringo in the Kitchen with Zenobia Beckley, please subscribe and also like and share to your friends, family, neighbors, anyone. And her picture will be coming up here on the left-hand side of your screen. Be sure to click on that. When you come to the bell, click on that bell twice, and you'll be able to see when Gringo in the Kitchen has new things coming out and when Zenobia has new videos coming out herself. So on behalf of Gringo in the Kitchen, thank you. See you next time.